I retired as a photographer from the Courier-Journal. I'd worked there from 1969. I'd worked there in several capacities. A photographer, I worked there as director of photography. I worked there as chief photographer, but I prefer to say that I worked there as a photographer.
Diminutive in stature, it was around the age of 10, while recovering from a hospital stay for a growth program, that his mother handed him a camera. By the age of 14, the young photographer was covering local Little League baseball games for the Glasgow Republican. 2 years later, he was working for the Glasgow Daily Times. And by the age of 20, he was working with the Louisville Courier-Journal. After a short stint with National Geographic, he returned to the Derby City to share his unique visual point of view.
Well, I see things differently than most people anyway because of my size and the difference between us as shorter people versus taller people. But what I really want to come out of the camera is I think I see things that not only give a different perspective on what I'm seeing, but hopefully I'll shoot a picture in such a way that gives the viewer additional information that the average viewer might not think about. A lot of the time, I'm not making pictures. A lot of the time, I'm walking around a situation trying to compose a picture. Now, what if I move over here? Is it better because of the foreground, background, or is it not so good? So, and I'll just walk into that situation, and when I get to the point where I'm ready, that's when I move in place and make the photograph. When I get into that situation, when a subject lets their guard down, first of all, they trust me, or else they wouldn't have me there. And I try to repay that trust. And that's when I start making pictures that are true, real documentary pictures. And that's the kind of pictures I like to make. I won't say that I was there, but I was going in the direction I wanted to go. And if there was any one moment, it was 1968, because you're in the middle of the civil rights movement, and you're in the middle of chaos in terms of Kennedy had been killed in 1963, and then the chaos from 63 through 68, and then the assassinations of Dr. King and Bob Kennedy. I mean, I was doing documentary photojournalism then. And it hadn't been much fun since. but from 68, from then on, I could tell I was moving in the direction I wanted to go.
That direction found the young photographer searching out anything presidential, including a close encounter with then-President Lyndon B. Johnson during a visit to Louisville. Just as Luster was about to take the winning photo, the camera wouldn't work.
The flash bulb wouldn't work. So President Johnson says to me, he said, "Son, you just take your time." So I'm thinking, well, that's pretty cool. So I tried it again, it wouldn't work. So I'd read in one of the magazines, Popular Photography, that if you take a bit of saliva out of the corner of your mouth and put it on the bulb, it would work every time. Well, I did that, and Mr. Nicely gets into place. I photographed it, the strobe worked, and off the president goes. So I'm thinking, this is kind of fun, So then from then on, I just photographed every situation after that. Well, I love to photograph people. That's what it's all about. I would like to think that what I did in photojournalism made a difference to the people of the state of Kentucky and outside the state of Kentucky. I worked for the best newspaper in the state of Kentucky, and I'd like to think that made a difference in the people that I covered over the years, because we covered a great variety of people during those years, and I covered a lot of stories that made a huge difference in the state. I would like to take a photograph that would be a photograph from my heart, a photograph that would say a lot about me, but most of all, it would say a lot about the subject that I would be covering. And it would be a photograph or photographs that would become historical, and the viewer would be glad after they viewed those photographs that they've seen it. If I had to pick one situation that I would love to photograph at a certain point in time, it would be a very historical picture from the Kentucky Derby. I photographed 49 Kentucky Derbies. I haven't made that picture yet, but I'd like to get a very historical picture from the Derby, and I don't know if I'll ever get it or not. This coming year will be my 50th Derby, so and I'm gonna keep going till I get it. So if I get it this year, that's a bonus.